The story of Samson. A tale of strength, betrayal, and redemption. Samson's story is one of the most dramatic and compelling narratives in the Bible, found in the book of Judges, chapters 13 to 16. He was a man of extraordinary strength, chosen by God to deliver the Israelites from the oppression of the Philistines. Yet his life was also marked by personal flaws, betrayal, and ultimately, redemption. The birth of Samson. Samson's story begins with a divine promise. The Israelites had turned away from God and were suffering under the rule of the Philistines for 40 years. In the town of Zorah there lived a man named Manoah and his wife, who was barren. One day, an angel of the Lord appeared to her and announced that she would bear a son. This child was to be a Nazarite, dedicated to God from birth, and he would begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. The angel instructed her to avoid wine and unclean food and to never cut the boy's hair, as his strength would come from his consecration to God. Manoah and his wife obeyed, and in time, Samson was yet born. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir in him as he grew. Samson's strength and early exploits. As a young man, Samson was known for his incredible physical strength. On one occasion, while traveling to Timnah, he encountered a young lion. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Later, he found honey in the lion's carcass, which he ate and shared with his parents. Samson soon fell in love with a Philistine woman and insisted on marrying her, despite his parents' objections. During the wedding feast, he posed a riddle to the Philistine guests, betting 30 garments that they could not solve it. When his wife was pressured into revealing the answer, Samson flew into a rage. He killed 30 Philistines in Ashkelon to pay the bet and then returned to his father's house, leaving his wife behind. Samson's vengeance and leadership. Samson's actions against the Philistines grew bolder. When he discovered that his wife had been given to another man, he tied torches to the tails of 300 foxes and set them loose in the Philistines' fields, destroying their crops. In retaliation, the Philistines burned his wife and her father to death. Samson responded by slaughtering many Philistines and then retreated to a cave. The Israelites, fearing Philistine retaliation, handed Samson over to them. But when the Philistines came to capture him, the Spirit of the Lord empowered him, and he broke free from his bonds. Grabbing the jawbone of a donkey, he killed 1,000 Philistines in a single battle. Samson and Delilah. The betrayal. Despite his strength, Samson had a weakness for women, which ultimately led to his downfall. He fell in love with Delilah, a woman from the valley of Sorek. The Philistine rulers bribed her to discover the source of Samson's strength. After much persuasion, Samson revealed that his power came from his uncut hair, a symbol of his Nazarite vow to God. While Samson slept, Delilah had his hair cut off. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and imprisoned him in Gaza. There he was forced to grind grain in the prison, a humiliating task for a man once revered for his strength. Samson's redemption and final act. As time passed, Samson's hair began to grow back. One day, the Philistines gathered in their temple to celebrate and mock Samson, bringing him out to entertain them. Samson, humbled and broken, prayed to God for strength one last time. He pushed against the temple's supporting pillars, and with a mighty effort he brought the entire structure crashing down. The collapse killed Samson and thousands of Philistines, including their leaders. In his death, Samson fulfilled his purpose. He struck a decisive blow against Israel's enemies. His story is a reminder of God's power to use flawed individuals for His purposes and the importance of faithfulness to His calling. Legacy of Samson. Samson's life is a complex mix of triumph and tragedy. He was a man of great physical strength, but also of moral weakness. Yet, in his final moments, he turned back to God, demonstrating that even in our failures, redemption is possible. His story continues to inspire and caution, reminding us of the consequences of pride and the power of repentance.